Hello and welcome to the 12 Days of Christmas. My name is Joanna Daniel. If this is your first time watching any one of our broadcasts, I am a counselor, a speaker, and an author, and a founder of Wounds to Scars, where we work with adult survivors of childhood trauma and women who experience abuse. And I think this is our 6th or 7th year doing 12 Days of Christmas, where we give you information, tools, tips about how to navigate this really sometimes challenging season for many people. So at Wounds to Scars, all of this will be hosted on our YouTube channel. So those of you who are here, welcome, and I'm so excited that you've joined us. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with those who you think will benefit from this information. So today I have a really special guest. I'm going to introduce her to you. We're talking about how to survive the first Christmas after the breakup. I know many people are going through this. It's a difficult season for many, and we wanted to give you some tools to help you to navigate this season. So I'm going to introduce my guest, who is Geraldine Noel, and she's a psychotherapist, a coach, and a trainer. Welcome, Geraldine. Tell us some more about yourself so that we can dive into this topic.
Hi, Joanna. Thank you so much for inviting me here today on your platform. I'm very happy to be here to share a few glimpses of some of the things that I have done and what I do. So I'm a psychotherapist, life coach, and trainer. My website is The Savvy Woman CFE, and I help women move from brokenness to success.
Yay, the savvy woman, helping women from brokenness to success. And Geraldine's spoken for us before at our conference. She has amazing content on her podcast, and we're going to tell you some more about that after we just dive into the topic. So, Geraldine, tell us, and I mean, you share this on your podcast a little bit, but tell us how you know that it's a difficult time for women at this time, the first Christmas after the breakup. How do you know?
Ooh, that's taken me back in time, Joanna. Well, around this time or so, I had come back from holiday. I think it was about September. And I came back to an empty apartment because this was the time that my marriage actually broke up. And I was feeling troubled. I looked at the room. It was dark. It was bleak. There was no excitement. There was no happiness. There was no joy, especially around this time where we celebrate Christmas. And it was very difficult for me at that time to just navigate through my own feelings of sadness, discouragement, pain, suffering. I went through all the things that had happened previously, and it was a sheer reminder of some of the things that I had overcome. At the time, I wasn't working. I had a handy injury, so I was made redundant. So it was bleak. It was really bleak, and I felt really, really lonely. Lonely, so much so that across my mind, I started to think about how other women or women in my position would have felt. Some of those, as I'm a Christian, some of those who would be thinking about taking their own life or harming themselves in some way. And so around this time was my time of brokenness.
So that's how you know that it is a difficult time for people. And for some women. And I saw this video yesterday on Instagram where somebody was talking about mental health around this season. It's a very difficult time for people for many, many different reasons, and some of which we're going to dive into the other speakers over the 12 Days of Christmas, why it's difficult and why we're doing this so that we can help people manage and they can have somewhere to go to get advice. But you list some things just now. Geraldine seemed to have left the stream, but I'm going to continue. She's list some things that I wanted to highlight, that if you're experiencing this, so that you know that it's normal and that there is support. She talks about the loneliness, and she talks about feeling it's bleak, a bleak feeling, a lonely and bleak feeling, and that's because of the time of the time when the breakup happened. So Geraldine's back. So I was just saying, Geraldine, that you talk about being lonely and a bleak feeling. So is that some of what people can expect? And as well as what they can expect, what can they do when they're experiencing this lonely, bleak feeling?
I think it was difficult, and it is difficult for you to actually rise above the bleakness, not unless you have that inner strength within you. Now, for me, my source of strength was prayer as a
Mm,
Christian. But what happens if you're not a woman who is a praying woman? So I
mhm.
started to look at self-reflection websites. I started to look at motivational websites, something that I do. I started to look at different types of medium streams that can just get me through, even looking at movies or comedies that will actually lift my spirits. Because most
Make you
women
laugh.
at this time, yeah, most women at this time tend to look at somber movies, things that can
Yeah,
bring them back in that cycle of
right,
distress. And
right.
I learned through that time and still learn today that around this time, even
Mm,
though the memory may seem at a distance, it's still very real
mhm,
because you
mhm, mhm.
recognize that there are women who are in this cycle of distress who need to move out of that. So some of the things I did was to read books, look at movies, go out with friends, be in
Yeah,
people's homes so that I'm not alone.
you're not on
Um,
your own.
that's right. Talk to people on social media. Just connect in some way. Listen to music. Go in the bath and relax. I remember one of those things was I was actually alone on that Christmas day, really alone. And so I went in the bathroom and I prepared a lovely bubble bath. I mean, it's just a practical thing that I did. Put candles around it, listen to music,
Yeah.
and had a little grape juice wine beside me and just relaxed.
Yes.
Just relaxed because I really wanted to focus on my inner self, on my inner being. Where was my strength coming from?
Mm,
What did I need? And
mm.
that was one of the things. When I came out, I was changed. It was almost as if there was a transformation because I
Yeah,
made a point of being a person that will care for myself. I did a lot of self caring around
you
that
did.
time, and even
Yes.
leading into, and then by the time the new year came, I had a different focus. They always say that you should try and do some goal setting in the new year.
Mhm,
But for me,
mhm,
I just took it one day at a time, and I knew if I worked on myself
mm,
throughout the
mm,
Christmas period, I will be
mhm.
okay for the new year.
Wow. This is what we call sitting with the pain, sitting with it. So there's this acknowledgement that I'm lonely, it's bleak, I'm sad,
Mhm.
and you really sounds like you looked after yourself. I really love that.
Mm,
And I suppose that's why you're able to help other women that are going through this right now. You know what they need and you can provide that. And we're going to talk some more about that. So here are some things that Geraldine says she did. It's fascinating, Geraldine, because you went online. You went online to search for things. You said, I went on websites. I
mm,
wanted to do motivation and self reflection. I wanted to do this work, and you went online to find it. And now I'm so glad that you let yourself do that because now women can go on your website, the Savvy
yes.
Women CFE, to go find information and tools, what they need in the middle of the night to be able to get through that period. The same way you went and searched and somebody was there and you found. So you
Yes.
also did connection is so important. That social contact. You said I connect with people, even if it's on Facebook. Talk to people. You said you use music. Music really does help us to
Yes,
relax
it.
and the bath. So this was a because we said what can people expect if you're surviving the first Christmas after the breakup.
Mhm.
You said it's lonely, I felt lonely, it's bleak, it's all of those things, but these are the things that you did to
Mm,
nurture and look after yourself. So important. But I want to talk about the women who have children. They might be young children, and
mm,
she might not be able to go in the bath because everybody's going to be at the door knocking and asking where she is because they are also struggling. What
mhm,
can she do to be okay? And she has family. Family doesn't live near. I know she can go to family if they're in the same country, or if she has family near, or indeed if family is safe. So
mhm.
without all of that, the loneliness must be more intense if you have little people that you're looking after as well. What can she do?
Well, one of the things my women can do is to play activity games. So I always go back to what I used to tell some of the women back in the past when they have their children as well who are younger. And one of the
Yeah.
things I used to say to them was prepare yourself to go on the seaside. Children love to create things and they love
Yeah.
to be with mummy at this moment
Right.
in time. They love that mummy does everything for them. So start a creation. So I told them to build like a tent to
Right.
prepare yourselves, get some deck chairs and have and ask your children to create and draw grass and put whatever they wanted on this platform and then sit down with your children as if you were on the beach. Get
Oh, so you imagine it, use their imagination and play. Right.
put them on the beach, sit down and just enjoy and relax yourself. Put,
Mm,
some lights on, put some lights. You've got your Christmas tree, I guess. So put your
mm,
lights on and put
mm,
put those lights around the room and just sit down, get some drinks as if it were a party on the
mm.
beach and have your children just play while you relax.
Yeah, yeah. Let them play while you relax.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yes, yes, yes.
That's right.
Give them some activity. So you can have 2 minutes just to gather yourself.
That's right. And they can also bring themselves into an area where their children they will just read to their children as well. Because reading, there's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with reading to your children. I always say that one of the greatest things that you could ever do when you have children and you're in that place of loneliness is to read, because it actually not just soothes them or entertains them, but it soothes
Yeah.
your
Yes.
soul. It
It
really
does.
does.
And my children used to love, and they still do when they're older, when I read to them. There's something about the sound of my voice that is soothing, and that will happen. And if you can't read, there is your story hour that have lots of stories that children love, and it's intriguing.
That's
And
right.
around this period, there's lots of stories on there. And there's another website that I always forget, but they have books. They read rare books on this.
Mhm.
Oh, I always forget the name the name of it. Do I apologize? But your story hour, you can use your story hour if you're struggling. There's one thing I wanted to talk about support,
Mhm.
Geraldine, but I also say that sometimes these women, you don't have family. You don't. I live
Mm.
in a country where I have no family. It's just my husband and
Mm.
we have friends. We're good friends, but I don't have
Mhm.
family that I can. If so, God forbid anything should happen, I don't. I have good friends I could go to, but I don't have family. You tend
Mhm.
not to want to
Mhm.
intrude on friends at this time. And so you might feel more alone. Um, but let me tell me what you think of this. When we lived, before we moved to Wales, where we lived before, we used to, on
Mhm.
Christmas Day, they'd have Christmas lunch at church and we'd go and we'd help to serve and we'd bring something to contribute. And so that was a way for us to be with people.
Mhm.
And that was always nice. The children liked it.
Mm.
So maybe that's something that a woman can do if that's happening in her area, that she can not necessarily go to serve, but go to be with other people
And
around
that
that
is,
season, which is nice.
sorry, yes, and that is actually true because I could remember around this time that I went to feed the homeless. In actual fact, that's
Right.
something that did was to give back something, because there are people who are at the same level as myself or who are homeless, who are even
Mm,
worse off than I am, and I had to do something in order for me to start to heal. To look at those people, I
right.
went into doing prison ministry. That was the other
Right.
thing that I started to do. I went,
Mm-hmm.
I started to look at my goals for the new year in the first 3 months and started to prepare myself with what can I do? Because that actually
Mm,
shaped my mind and allowed me to have that focus. My parents weren't here. My parents were
mm,
there. My family were all around, and my brother doesn't celebrate Christmas. And so
right.
I was alone in that respect. I was in a country, a country that where families, in actual fact, decided really and truly to stay by themselves. So I was alone. And
You
so
were alone.
these are some of the things that I did in order for me to pull
Yeah.
myself out of that darkness,
Yeah. And it
come
is
into
dark.
the light. Yeah.
Because even though you are a Christian woman, sometimes the people in your church might not think to invite you. And sometimes, and maybe we'll go in this another time, sometimes people take sides when there's a breakup and decide that you're wrong. And if you're a woman that is fleeing violence, or if you're a woman that the breakup happened because of abuse, and this is your first Christmas on your own, people in your church may have taken sides and you're really not on your own. Nobody's inviting you into their home over this period when you really need people. So those are
And they did,
some
and they did take sides, and that's something that will come out in one of my podcasts
they took
later on.
sides.
Yeah, they did take sides, and it was unfortunate because I'd lost many friends,
It's
but
always unfortunate.
I gained new friends and reestablished authentic relationships, and that's what got me through those
Amen.
trying times.
Amen. I'm so glad, because people do, and people don't really think like, it's Christmas. We're here. It's nice. The music is
Mm,
soft. The lights on the Christmas tree. We're so nice in this warm, cozy home with our friends. Geraldine's on her own, or Joanne's
mm,
on her own, or Sharon's on her own, and with the children, and it's their first Christmas. I'm gonna get them to come to ours, or
mm,
I'm gonna pop around
mm,
for an hour or two to spend with them. People
mm,
tend not to think that we live in the UK, for example, in this country that is so individualized. People just think about themselves and their little world.
mhm,
We want us
mhm,
to, even those who are on here, on our watching us, if you know somebody who is in the season going to be on their own, open
mm,
your home to, helping or going to visit or do something that somebody can know that they have some support and they're not on their own.
mm.
So thank you so much, Geraldine. I
You're
wanted
welcome.
these to be enough that somebody can know. So there's so many things that you say that a woman can, who is surviving her first Christmas with
Mhm,
children, without children, in a country on your own, that you can do, that you're
mhm,
not going to be closed in. What I want to say is, and let me know about what you think about this, Geraldine.
mhm.
Like, don't worry about January in December. Just do December. Don't
That's
worry
right.
about what might happen, as the breakup unravel or anything else. Just do
Mm,
December in December and try and go get through this period,
mhm,
and stabilizing your mental health and your
mhm,
well-being in December. How about
mhm.
that? Don't worry about January and December.
That's right, because it's so true, and it's very important just to get through one day at a time, 1 minute at a time, because there will be
Yeah.
times that you'll just break down and cry. I certainly did. There will be
Yeah.
times that you wouldn't be able to have the energy or the desire to do something that day, even when you have children. But
Yeah.
sometimes you have to pick yourself up in such a way, and it may not be much that you have to do.
Mm.
You can take your children. One of the things I wanted to say was that you can take your children into the kitchen and have a bake off, a
Yes. Yes.
competition, because that's something
Yeah.
that can lift your spirit. But
Yeah.
in this time and in this season, it's one day at a time. What can I do to help myself? What can I do to feel
Yeah.
safe? What can I do to give myself some care today that I can do something different for
Yeah.
tomorrow?
To look after yourself. Thank you so much for that, Geraldine, and for coming. Where can people find you and learn more about the Savvy Woman and the things that you provide to help women who are healing after a breakup?
Ooh, well, I'm all over the place. So I have a podcast called Unashamed Reclaimed, because in my divorce, I felt really ashamed, and people made me feel ashamed actually
Mm.
by the way they were behaving. So you can find that on Spotify. You can find it on Apple Podcasts. You can find it on Google Podcasts. You can find it on Anchor. So those are the 4 platforms that I have, and that comes out every week, every Tuesday and or Wednesday. It's either or for me, but I try to make it every Tuesday. So you can find that every Tuesday. And I have
Unashamed Reclaimed.
Unashamed Reclaimed. Let's talk brokenness to success. And so that's one of them. The other is on my social media platforms. I'm on Facebook at The Savvy W. I'm on Instagram at The Savvy W. I'm on LinkedIn at The Savvy W. So people can find me. And through those social media platforms, you can find freebies at the moment. I have a freebie which is just about to come out. So keep a lookout for that. It will be out on Monday, the 12th of December, 12 days before Christmas. It'll be on the 12th, and it will be it's a series. It's a 3 audio series. And the first of those series is called, I can't remember it, Joanna.
Is that the don't text him girlfriend?
Oh, yes, that's right.
Don't text him.
Don't text them, girlfriend. And the other one is You Are an Overcomer. And the
Yes.
last one is I Can Make It.
Yes.
So please look out for those from on my website. It will be at www.thesavvywoman, created for excellence. God has created us for excellence.com. And you will find that source there through a blog post, through audio, through a podcast. You'll find the source files directly to that website.
Thank you, Geraldine. And we'll also put the links below this video. And, I love CFE. God has created you for excellence. And even though you're maybe at the beginning stages of the breakup or in the middle or whichever stage that you're in and devastated, and you've gone through all the stages of grief, the bargaining, and that's why Geraldine audio is "Don't Text Him Girlfriend," because we know that in the bargaining phase that we're tempted to reach out and to forgive, not only forgive, but you might put yourself back in harm's way. We want you to know that there is resources that can help you to get through the very difficult early stages, and that's what she provides. Thank you. I want you to know that if you are going through and you're navigating your first Christmas, it's your first holiday, you have children, you feel lost, I want you to know that you're not alone though. So your mind might be telling you that you're lost and you're alone. You're not alone. We know that you're there, and we're hoping that you'll see this video. We're hoping that if you are somebody who is watching this and know of a woman who might be lost because it's the first Christmas after the breakdown, sometimes we tend not to think about people in that way. I want you to think about this woman. I want you to send her this video, and I want you to reach out to her and let her dictate what she needs from you. Just let her know that you're there and you're there to support. If you are there and you're alone, you're not alone. We're here. We support you. The Savvy Woman CFE, you can also go to our website at woundstoscars.com, and the Healing Place is on Telegram, where we provide support for women who are healing. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next day of Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna. Thank you. Bye.